Hi, and welcome back to the Yogi. I'm Julia, your yoga instructor for arthritis. And it's winter here in Montreal, so I'm nice and cozy and ready for our practice today. A gentle yoga flow and yin restorative for transitions and surrender. What you'll need for today's practice is your yoga mat, a sturdy chair. If you're opting to stay seated throughout this practice, bring a second chair just in case. I'd like to show you a few variations that you can take. Some yoga blocks, maybe 2 yoga blocks if you have them at home. Pillows from your couch to add support during our yin postures. And if you have a bolster or yoga strap, a blanket, you can also bring those props along. So once you do gather all of your props, take your time and find a comfortable seat, and we'll get started. Settle in. Close your eyes if that's available to you, or gaze down towards the floor. Take a long, slow, deep breath in with me. In through the nostrils and out through the nostrils. Let's do that again. Inhale fully. And exhale completely. Now come to your natural breath. Allow the shoulders to melt away from the ears, and allow the belly to soften as you breathe in and out naturally through the nose. There is no doubt that we are all experiencing some kind of transition or many transitions in our lives at this time. Even the seasons have shifted. Whether these are major or subtle changes occurring in our physical realm, our mental or emotional realm, environment, our career, relationships, or spiritual life, we are all adapting to a new way of life. And while this can be stressful and challenging, there is an opportunity for us to embrace the new and to live in the present moment, to come back to the now. This is essentially mindfulness, sati in Sanskrit. The benefits of mindfulness are plentiful. Those who live in the moment tend to be happier, calmer, and more relaxed, more appreciative, grateful. Mindfulness can also increase your ability to tune in with your thoughts, emotions, and body sensations. Maybe you've heard this saying, don't let the future steal your present. Let's think about that powerful statement for a moment, seated here in meditation. Don't let the future steal your present. Sometimes we're so worried about what is to come, the outcome, our goals, that we forget to appreciate living in the present moment, to pay attention. So in today's yoga practice, we will bring our focus to the present moment, continuously checking in during the transition of postures as this relates to the transitions in our everyday lives. We'll open our yoga class with one chant of Om together. Breathe deeply through the nostrils. Breathe naturally, noticing the vibration of this universal mantra that connects each and every one of us. You can gently open the eyes, and we'll release the arms if that's comfortable, with the palms facing forward in mountain pose, noticing our feet and grounding them through the four edges. Sitting nice and tall on your sit bones. Breathe in and exhale fully. If you're seated on your yoga mat, allow the palms to face open with your arms out to the sides, and gently bow the head, tuning into our bodies, to our breath, and stretching the back of our neck. Inhale and exhale. Inhale to flow back to center and gently lift the chin towards the sky, gazing to where the wall and the ceiling meet, to not overextend the neck and just have a gentle opening of the throat and the chest. Inhale and exhale to release any tension. You can come back to center. Lengthen through the spine on your inhale. And as you exhale, tilt your head to the right, allowing your ear to move towards your right shoulder. And take an in breath and out breath here. Inhale back to center. And exhale to continue to flow gently to the other side. Taking an in breath and out breath on the left side. Inhale, float the head back to center and send awareness to the shoulders. Send the shoulders up to the ears. Breathe in. And exhale to go limp. Let's do this 2 more times with your own breath. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth now. Good. Sending our attention to our arms. You can breathe in, sending the arms to cactus with our elbows at 90 degrees. Breathe in and gently squeeze the shoulder blades together to lift the heart. And then exhale to relax the arms by your sides. You have the option to take cactus arms again, breathing into the chest, or if it's available to you, reach your arms overhead in a full body stretch. Inhale, lift the heart. And then exhale to release back down. Bring your attention to your wrists. Slowly take some circles with your wrists to one side and then the other, making gentle circles, connecting to our breath as we change sides. And staying present with how we feel with each movement, at each moment, noticing when we want to rest or when we want to take a moment to come out of a posture. Always listen to your body because your body knows best. Let's bring attention to our hands and our fingers. Place the palms in front of you and gently press out the palms if that's available, extending the arms softly with a bend in the elbow. Gently squeeze the fingers to the inside of the hands if that's available to you, and gently stretch them by spreading the fingers wide. Inhale, squeezing the fingers together, and exhale to release the palms. Let's do that one more time. Gently squeeze the fingers inward, and exhale to open wide, spread the fingers, and then gently shake out the body. Just release, being mindful of what feels good in this moment. Gently heel toe our feet outward to create a bit of a wider stance. Your toes can be pointing out towards your knees, so everything's in alignment. And ground into the four edges of the feet. And we'll take gentle circles with our bodies, allowing the elbows to remain gently bent as we create some circles to one side and the other, breathing in and breathing out. As we transition to the other side, incorporating the shoulders and releasing any tension that you might be feeling. Inhale and exhale. Come back to center. Heel toe the feet once again, moving mindfully in this transition. Feeling the heels down on the floor, and then feeling the balls of the feet and the toes. Coming back to center with our feet shoulder width apart with a nice long spine. Palms face forward in mountain pose as we come into a gentle side bend, lengthening before we bend to create space between the intervertebral discs. Inhale, and as you exhale, take a gentle side bend to the left. If it's not comfortable to lift your arm, you can just release your arm by your side, being mindful of inhaling and lengthening. And take the other side, either with your arm overhead or your arm by your side. Breathe in. And come back to center. Let's do that one more time with our breath. Inhaling as we move into our bend and exhaling fully. Inhaling to flow back to center. And exhaling to come into our bend. Inhale to flow back to center. Lengthen through the crown of the head. And as you exhale, gently lift the heart. And as you exhale, gently round the back, coming into a gentle cat and cow. You can take some time, if you're seated on the floor, to transition mindfully into all fours with your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips, if that's more comfortable for you, to come into all fours and tabletop. Place any padding that you'd like underneath the knees or the hands and wrists to be more comfortable. And we'll move into this cat and cow together wherever we are. Inhale, lift the heart, arch the back. Exhale to round from the lower back, middle back, upper back, and release the head. Gaze towards the navel, pull the belly in and up. And inhale to come forward, lift the heart. Create breath in the belly, the diaphragm, and the chest, and exhale to round. Feeling every articulation of the spine. Take one more round of cat and cow. Move back to center. Just take a moment of mindfulness, whether you're seated in your chair or on all fours and tabletop. Notice where you are in this present moment. If you're seated in your chair, open your eyes if they were floated closed. And as you breathe in, send your knee into your chest. If you're on your yoga mat, kneeling in all fours, step your right leg forward to come into a modified lunge, making sure you have cushioning under the left knee, and making sure that your knee is not going over your ankle. Your knee's in line with your middle toe in your lunge. Breathe in and breathe out. If you're seated in your chair, loosen your grip, allowing yourself to send the knee into the chest with your exhale. Breathe in. And exhale to send the knee into the chest. Release your leg back down if you're seated in your chair, and come back to tabletop and out of your lunge, coming back to a neutral position. Inhale. And exhale to notice any sensations in the body, to notice your starting point during this transition to the other side, whether coming into knee to chest on your chair or a modified lunge on your yoga mat with a supportive prop under the knees. Inhale and exhale to take the other side, stepping the left leg forward on your yoga mat, coming into your modified lunge, or sending the left knee into the chest if you're seated in your chair, sitting up nice and tall. Breathe in and breathe out. Always choosing whichever variation feels best to you right now in this present moment with the body that you came to this class with. You can gently release your leg back down and step your left foot back to tabletop. And take a moment to breathe. We'll be moving into downward facing dog. So if you're kneeling on your yoga mat, prepare your hands underneath the shoulders and step the hands about a handprint forward, allowing your fingers to gently press equally into your yoga mat. Breathe in and breathe out, and as you exhale, press away from your yoga mat, lifting the hips up in an inverted V. And take a few mindful breaths. You can walk the dog by walking and pedaling out your feet. Bend both knees if that feels good to you. And those of you seated in the chair will come into a seated version of downward facing dog. Breathe in to lengthen the spine and hinge forward mindfully from the hips. Send your hands to heart center. You also have the option to send your arms overhead, palms facing one another, coming into downward facing dog. Pull the belly in and up with every inhale, engaging the core muscles to protect the lower back. Taking a few more mindful breaths in any version of downward facing dog that feels good to you, and notice where you can surrender a little bit and let go of tension or effort. Let's take one more full breath together. Inhale through the nose. Let's exhale through the mouth. And gently come back to your tabletop or come back down to your chair, seated in mountain pose, palms on your lap or facing forward. And notice what this feels like in your body. Inhale and exhale. I'll come to the group seated on the chair first, and then I'll get to all of you who are kneeling in tabletop position. Gently extend your left leg long with your heel on the floor and a micro bend in the knee to protect the joint. We're going to inhale our arms either to the heart center in cactus or arms overhead as we breathe into this posture and gently lean forward from the hips with a long spine, feeling a stretch in the back of our legs. Breathe in for a few mindful breaths. If you're kneeling in tabletop, extend the right leg back with the toes pointing downward, feeling the back of the leg, the hamstrings, the glutes. Keeping our hips level to the floor. Breathe in and breathe out. If your arms get tired while you're seated, you can relax the hands to heart center and continue to breathe with a nice long spine. And at the same time, whether seated or kneeling on the yoga mat, come back to neutral position, seated in the chair or back to tabletop. We'll take a moment to be present with how we feel in our bodies, to connect to our breath. And when you're ready, move to the other side. If you're seated in your chair, lengthen your left leg, keep a micro bend in the knee with your heel on the floor. You can send your hands to heart center in cactus or again, arms overhead. Whatever feels best for you today. Explore and notice what feels good around the shoulders and the chest. And then slowly hinge forward from the hips gently to feel a stretch in the back of your legs. We're activating the hamstrings, the calf muscles, getting a nice stretch. And if you're in tabletop position on your yoga mat, lengthen the left leg back, keeping the toes pointed downward, lifting through the back heel. Breathe in and out, activating the hamstrings and the back of the body. Take a few more mindful breaths wherever you are. One more inhale and exhale together. And exhale. And gently send your foot back to center wherever you are. And breathe. If you are on your yoga mat, you can take a moment to come down to your backs. From seated all the way down to lying on the back. We're going to take a glute stretch today. You have the option to use a block. If you're seated, send the block in front of the left foot. If you're seated, breathe in and exhale to send your right leg to your block, making sure that it's close enough to you, but that your heel is still under your knee for alignment, so there's no extra pressure on the knee joint. Send your right foot to the block. If this is available to you, then you can keep your hand underneath the knee for support and just notice what this feels like. And if it feels good to let go, you can. If not, you can hold on to the side of your knee and breathe, lengthening the spine. If it's available to you, you can also send the leg over the opposite leg. Just notice what feels best for you. And breathe, gently flexing the toes towards you. And the same thing goes if you're lying on your back, send your right leg over the left. The left knee is bent with your foot on the floor, and your toes are pointing towards you to protect the knee. Your arms can be relaxed by your sides. And just notice how it feels to have that opening, and notice the shape. The hip is opening, the glute is stretching. Breathe in and out. Take one more mindful breath in your glute stretch wherever you are. And exhale fully. Mindfully send your hand to the outside of your knee. You can help your leg, whether you're seated or lying on your back, and place it back down on the floor. Your knees are bent in both situations. If you're seated in your chair, take a moment and send your block to the opposite side. And take one moment to find the present moment before we transition to the next side. Notice the breath. Notice any sensations you might be feeling in the body, or any thoughts that might be coming up for you in this moment. Come back to this present moment. Breathe in. And as you exhale, send your left leg over the right or to your block. So this goes for lying down or seated in your chair. Flex the toes towards you wherever you are. Then you can keep your hand to the outside of your left knee if that feels good to you, or you can release if you feel no discomfort or pain. If you're lying on your back, allow your head, your shoulders, and your arms to relax, lying down in your back. And just a gentle opening of the hip and the left glute. We'll take a few more mindful breaths in our glute stretch. And stay aware of any sensations that you might be feeling in this particular posture. Notice if there's a difference from one side to the other without any judgment or trying to change anything. And when you're ready, inhale to send your knee back to center and set your foot back down. Both knees are bent wherever you are. If you're lying on your back, notice what it feels like to have both of your feet back on the floor or on your yoga mat. And you can take a moment to release your legs all the way down. If you're lying on your back. And if you're seated, remove your prop off to the side. We will come back to our blocks, so we'll just keep them handy. And wherever you are, we're going to take some circles with the ankles. So if you're lying on your back, you can take both at the same time. If you're in your chair, I prefer keeping one foot stable, but you can explore. keeping the hands to the sides of your chair so you don't fall forward if you're extending both of your legs and that feels good to you. Or you can simply do one at a time, keeping one foot flat on the floor and one knee bent. Simply noticing what that feels like in the ankle and the foot. Maybe wiggle your toes if you're lying down or you're seated. Scrunch the toes gently towards the inside of the foot and spread the toes wide. Inhale again to scrunch the toes and spread the toes wide. And you can gently shake out the arms and you can gently shake out the legs. That feels good to you. If you're lying on your back, maybe you could take windshield wiper, even seated in the chair, taking your time to move side to side with the legs, keeping the torso and the head relaxed and steady. And releasing the lower back. Seated in your chair, take a moment to send the knees to the right side. So the hips are facing towards the diagonal and in line with your knees. And if you're lying on the floor, breathe in and breathe out to send the knees into the chest. We're going to come into a twist. So if you're seated in your chair, breathe in to lengthen the spine and exhale to gently twist to center. So we're getting a nice stretch in the lower back as though we would lying on our backs. And we're going to stay here for a few mindful breaths, not pulling, just allowing ourselves to be present and lengthen with your inhales. And as you exhale, pull the belly into the spine, gently releasing the air. And if you're lying on your back, you can gently send the knees to the left side with props underneath the knees or between the knees. Coming into a lying spinal twist, noticing the benefits for your digestion, for releasing tension in the spine, and calming the body. If you're seated in your chair, inhale to face your knees once again. And if you're lying on your back, inhale to send the knees back to center. Breathe in. And exhale to gently release the feet back down, knees bent. Just to feel the lower back on your mat. And if you're seated, you can gently move to the opposite side, taking a moment to pause. Feeling your two sit bones grounded. And if you're lying on the floor, send your knees back into your chest and notice how that feels. On your exhale, gently twist your body to center if you're seated on your chair. And if you're lying on your back, allow the knees to gently twist to the right with props underneath the knees or between the knees to support. Coming into a gentle version of your twist. You don't have to come all the way down to the floor. Your shoulder blades are grounded to your mat. And then if you're seated, focus on lengthening through your inhales. And through your exhales, relax the body, pulling the belly in and up. If you're seated in your chair, inhale to face your knees. And if you're lying down, gently send the knees back to center. Place the feet back on the floor with your knees bent and notice your lower back relaxed and grounded into your yoga mat. We'll take a moment here to breathe, to come back to the present moment if we were elsewhere. And if you're seated, you can come back to center. Wherever you are, notice the soles of your feet. This second half of our yoga practice will be yin restorative practices. I'll begin by showing you the seated version, but if you are going to be taking another variation with me, you can always come down to your yoga mats, seated, and observe what this looks like, or just drop down into the present moment, close your eyes, and focus on allowing this to not be empty time where I'm not instructing you or you have nothing to do, but really time and an opportunity for you to move inward and to tap into this present moment in your meditative practice. For this posture, you'll need 2 chairs, or you'll be coming down to your yoga mat using pillows or a block. So to me, a yin restorative practice is all about exploring what works best in our bodies, and I like to add as many comfortable props as possible so I can go further into relaxation and surrendering. So you'll need a chair to sit in and a chair that is facing away from you. I'm draping a blanket on top to create more comfort in my hands during this posture. Coming into puppy pose, and puppy pose is also known as anahatasana for the anahata chakra or heart chakra, which is very opening for our heart centers, also known as heart melting pose. So come to the edge of your seat and ground your feet underneath the knees. Make sure that your chair in front of you is far enough that you can gently hinge forward with a long spine and place the hands to the end of the chair as you come down. So I like to create a bit more space in between myself and the chair, explore. And then I found maybe I can even tilt the chair forward if it's not too heavy and it's still stable. Release the head if that feels good to you. Or you can gently release completely, keeping a gentle bend in the elbows. Inhale and exhale in your version of puppy pose, whether seated or kneeling on a supportive folded blanket or your yoga mat. Start to walk your hands forward, grounding through the fingertips, and then gently send your forehead down to your block or to the floor, noticing what it feels like to bring the block a little bit closer to the body. So your third eye is resting. And so your head is in line with your spine. You have the option also to take the block away and come all the way down, sending your third eye and your forehead down to your yoga mat, melting the heart forward. Wherever you are, inhale and exhale fully. Let's practice surrendering, letting go of judgment. It's easy to fall into a pattern of judging, both for ourselves and for others. Connect with your heart center, with that infinite love, allowing the heart to open and melt forward. And on your next inhale, you can gently release the arms, placing the hands to your thighs if you're seated, or We're coming back and bring the weight into the hands if you're on your yoga mat. And inhale with a long spine to come all the way back up to seated or kneeling in tabletop position. Find your breath. Be one with your breath as we move into Malasana, yogic squat with support, showing the variation seated in our chair first, and then I'll show another variation that you can take standing on your yoga mat with props for added support and comfort. You can heel toe the feet mindfully out to the sides, allowing the knees to point outward with your toes in alignment with your knees. And gently you can breathe in, lengthen the spine, lift the heart center, and send your hands to heart center. Malasana, yogic squat. You can send the shoulders down the back. You also have the option to send your forearms to the inside of your thighs and gently allow the body to hinge forward with a long spine. Make sure you're not falling forward off your chair. Your elbows are bent and your palms are relaxed, facing forward. We're opening up the inner thighs by pressing into the actual inner thighs, not our knees. And we're opening and lifting our hearts. You can gaze gently downward so your head stays relaxed in line with your spine. Breathe in and breathe out. And take a few mindful breaths in whichever variation feels best to you. Whether your hands are to heart center or your forearms are into the inside of the thighs, or you take the version of Malasana without the chair. You gently come down. You have the option to send your forearms to the inside of your thighs. Explore the pose. Lift the heart. You can gently bow the head. You can send your hands in front of your heart center or down to a yoga block or the floor. Inhale fully and exhale, surrender. Wherever you are, you can send the feet back to center and bring your feet shoulder width apart. Whether you're seated in mountain or standing in mountain, grounding through the feet. We'll be transitioning to Sphinx pose, taking a variation seated and then lying on our bellies, whichever feels best to you. If you're seated in your chair, find that length throughout the spine and visualize your energy flowing from the base of the spine all the way through the crown of the head. A beautiful bright light. Next, we'll send the hands to the sides of our chair if that's available to us. And inhale to lift the heart and gently squeeze the shoulder blades together. Option to gently lift the chin and gaze to where the wall and the ceiling meet in a gentle back bend. You also have the option to interlace your fingers behind your back or send your hands to your lower back and open the heart. Stay here for a few mindful breaths until you want to come back to mountain pose. And if you're lying on your belly, you'll be taking Sphinx pose. Starting from the belly. You can either stay here for a gentle back bend with your head relaxed on your arms or your hands. This is a gentle back bend already, just coming to the belly. And you can switch your head to the other side mindfully. And breathing in Sphinx for a few moments. Or you can come up to your forearms if that's available to you. I brought a blanket in case to place extra cushioning underneath my chest or my forearms if I needed it. As you can see, my forearms are grounded on the mat, my fingertips are grounded on the mat, and in Sphinx pose we're focused on a gentle back bend, sending the shoulders away from the ears, allowing the head to move in line with the spine, gazing down towards the floor in front of you. Feet are relaxed, knees relaxed, pelvis relaxed. When you're lying on your belly, you're massaging your internal organs with every inhale as they press gently into the yoga mat. Another good posture for digestion and calming the nervous system. When you're ready to come out of your variation of Sphinx or back bend, seated on your chair, do so mindfully and come back to a neutral position. If you're lying on your belly, gently press into the hands or into the forearms to come up and come into our next pose. You'll need to take your chair all the way to the back of a wall for added support for the head. And we'll use 1 or 2 yoga blocks beneath the feet, noticing what's most comfortable. Placing our blocks at the highest height, in line with one another, right in front of us. Coming into bound angle pose, Supta Baddha Konasana. Make sure that your blocks are not too close and not too far away. You want to be able to relax your head completely and your back completely. So your head is supported by the wall, your upper back is supported by the back of the chair, and we're going to explore the pose by placing the soles of the feet together on our yoga blocks, making sure that they're sturdy, and opening the knees out to the sides and noticing what that feels like. If you want less of a stretch in the hips and the groin, you can place the blocks further out away from you and notice what that feels like. If you need more of a stretch, you can bring the blocks a bit closer, so notice what feels good in your body. And you might need to add a pillow underneath your lower back for more support. And once you've found your bound angle pose where you feel fully supported, close your eyes and allow yourself to open. This is a great restorative pose. You are supported. You are held. Stay open to the possibilities, to the new. Allow the right hand to be placed on your heart, and the left hand to come to the center of your belly, if that's comfortable for you. Breathe into the belly and into the chest, and exhale to notice the chest and belly fall. For the next few moments in bound angle. You also have the option to take this pose down on your yoga mat with the appropriate props. While you're here, seated on your chair, completely relaxed, notice what it feels like to be leaned back with your head on the wall, fully supported. Take your time to come out of bound angle and into final relaxation, Shavasana. On your chair or your yoga mat, relax physically, relax mentally. Allow the shoulders to melt away from the ears and allow the belly to soften as you breathe in and out naturally through the nose. Come back to the sound of my voice, keeping the eyes closed. Take a deep breath in through the nostrils and exhale completely through the nostrils. Bring your awareness back to your breath, your body, the sound of my voice. You can gently wiggle the toes and the fingers wherever you are. And maybe make some circles with the wrists if that feels good, or one ankle at a time, bringing it to one side and then the other. Staying present with each movement, with each breath. And if it feels good to you, you can take a full body stretch, whether you're lying on your backs or in your chair, by reaching the arms overhead if that feels good to you, and taking whichever stretch feels right in this moment. Whether you're lengthening the body, reaching, expanding the body. And then relax completely wherever you are. Noticing what happened during this practice for you, what came up for you. Noticing how this practice can translate into our everyday lives. Take an inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Inhale fully, and exhale completely through the mouth. Thank you for being here today. And thank yourself. Send yourself some gratitude for completing this mindfulness practice for transitions and surrender. I am so honored to share this class with you. And I hope to see you next time. Namaste.